If you got a Kubota L3130, L3430, or L3830 tractor, there's a secret little service bolt that Kubota doesn't bother to tell somebody about that I got to find out the hard way. I've got an L3830, and it's mainly if you're operating the tractor with the back end up in the air, because I bought a BH90 backhoe as well. And when you put the backhoe stabilizers down, the back end goes up in front and goes down a little bit, okay? Well, the oil will run away from the drive gears that run the hydraulic pump. And here is my old drive gears in the pan. That big one right there, there's no oil on it at all. It was dry when I took it off. It was totally dry. I don't know how long this has been running dry, but I mean, there's no, a diesel engine is black oil on it and stuff. There's nothing on this thing. It's perfectly clean, dry. It's got little sparkles on it from all the ground up metal. The small gear, okay, is all chewed up. The bearing finally, from running dry, all the balls moved to one side, and that allowed the gear to move over far enough that it would no longer pump oil. It really wasn't making a whole lot of noise when you move the bucket lever. It was winding a little bit more than I thought it should be, but that was it. And then it started acting really funky, and then it quit. Well, there's a spline inside this little gear right here. Okay, I don't know if you can see that spline inside there or not. I don't know if we can see that, focus on that or not. There's a spline here that goes in the spline of the hydraulic pump, which is right down here. And it's all wiggled around on there now. So now I need to get to buy the big gear, the small gear, the new bearing, and now I need to put, it's going to be $280 to take the hydraulic pump and put a new shaft in it, because you got to buy the other gear because you're replacing this half of the pump. There's two halves of the pump. Okay, you got to buy this kit. So now they made a mistake when they built this thing. Otherwise, this wouldn't have been happening to begin with, in my opinion. Yeah, but you get a new oil filter housing right here, and on the side of the oil filter housing, there's a place to hook a steel line up to. Which that steel line right down there is what goes to, hooks to the oil filter housing. So we're stealing a little bit of oil off the oil filter housing through this banjo bolt right here, and there's a little tiny hole in this bolt. I don't know if you can see the little hole in the bolt right there, a little tiny hole. Both those bolts got that little small hole in there, so they're taking a little bit of oil off the, from the oil filter housing after it comes from the oil pump, to spray oil through the new housing right there onto the small gear right there, which in turn lubricates the other gear and the bearing and so forth, which is great. But nobody told me about this. Nobody said, hey, nobody notified me about nothing. And according to their paper on over here, I was reading in their paper, where's it at? This will be a fix only if a failure occurs as stated above. Defective parts are required for return when filing warranty. Well, I'm sure my tractor's old enough now, there's no more warranty, so now it's all on me. So I get to buy all this stuff myself. Ain't that sweet? They knew it was a problem. I could have bought the kit. But the kit, the thing that gets me about this kit was this housing right here was going to be $52. Okay? And so I get a steel line and I get the oil filter housing, and that's now the whole kit's $335. Well, you take 52 from 335, you're left with $280 some odd they're charging me for this steel line. This thing right here, the oil filter housing, a couple little bolts, and a couple gaskets. They're making money on, it seems to me they're making money on their mistake. How does that work out? That's pretty handy, isn't it? Well, come on, let me show you this tractor out here now. There's two drain back holes on the side of the tractor where that housing bolt's on to let the oil run back out of there that never gets there in the first place. Okay? And I've been taking Q-tips. And all I have is this pile of Q-tips right here. I don't know if you can see the little sparkles there, and see the little sparkles there, all the pieces of metal ground up down inside there. I'm pulling that all out of the engine of the tractor now. I've been out there for a couple hours now, just sitting there pulling all these sparkles of metal out of this stuff. Each one of them Q-tips comes out with a little bit of metal on the end of it. See little sparkles of metal on there? Ain't that sweet? Look at that big one right there. Who wants that in their engine? I priced that engine out $6,200 for a new engine. Oh, that metal. Yeah, ain't that sweet? I'll show you the tractor. I mean, I like Kubota. They build great stuff. But this is ridiculous. I'm not trying to badmouth Kubota. This is just, I feel I should have been notified. Let me know what you think. I want to know in the comments what you guys think about this situation. There's where this thing bolts on. Let me turn the drop light around so you can see better. Okay, you can see the place down inside there. See that the shaft is way, I'm trying to get a better lighting on the thing. It's down in there, so it's hard to get to, hard to see. Right, you can kind of see it. My tip of my finger's touching the shaft right here now. And right below that shaft, there's two little holes right there. See those two little holes? Well, that's where I'm sticking the Q-tip in the thing and pulling out the metal. Well, I sprayed oil on this shaft right here just to kind of wash that bearing out. This shaft was dry. There was no oil on this shaft at all. And the metal that's been coming out of here, there's still a metal film on that. Look at it. Look at my finger. It's all silver right there. Just all silvery from all the metal that was ground up in here. You know, this is unreal. I don't know. You can't take that part of you can't take that part off there. It's part of the engine. So my only solution is to take the drain plugs out, drill them out in the lathe, and put glue magnets in them to hopefully pull some more of this metal out of my engine. Because I sure don't want this to, you know, get into my bearings of my crankshaft and destroy the engine. A $6,200 engine. Anyway, I just thought I'd share this with some other guys out there. If you got an L3130, L3430, or L3830, and you got the front of this tractor lower than the back end, and you're operating that way for a while, be advised there is a problem. So if you hear your hydraulics starting to make a little bit of noise, you know, hey, look, you got a problem. Don't continue to grind it up like I did. You know, I didn't realize, never dreamed that gears that are part of the engine, internally part of the engine, would have a problem not getting oil to them. You know, who'd ever dream such a thing? But hey, look, there it is. And I just thought I'd share this with other people in case they got one of these tractors and they want to avoid some costly problems here. This is $700 and that's over between $700 and $800 right now, and that's no labor. That's me doing it all myself. Anywho, there it is. But like I said, leave me a comment what you guys think about this. Should Kubota have done, you know, warn people about this problem before, you know, especially if they bought a backhoe? Should they have warned them about this? What do you think? Thanks for your time. Goodbye.